May 22nd, 2011 is a date that many of us will never forget. It started as a normal weekend day and ended one of the worst weather-related tragedies in American history. An EF5 tornado devastated Joplin, Missouri, and it ranks as one of America's most deadly storms with 162 victims. The Joplin tornado is one of the worst disasters that Shelter's storm team has ever faced. As we help our customers with the process of recovering, we're reminded of the importance of what we all do each and every day.
It was a Sunday, and it was a family day, home day, church in the morning, and then just kind of hanging out.
We were celebrating our daughter Michaela's high school graduation. We had brought a lot of family in.
I heard the sirens, but I didn't pay much attention to it.
I tell everybody that I have the same genetic defect that every man does when they blow the tornado sirens. We all go outside. We send everybody downstairs to the basement, you know, and actually saw the storm coming up the valley. Didn't realize what I was seeing, but knew it was something serious.
I mean, we had them from 1 and up to 80. That's how many, the age range that we had in that house, you know. And they had got all the kids in the bathroom with pillows and had them all laying down there.
You know, you felt the pressure hit the building. You know, it wasn't wind, it was just a pressure. And then the ears popped and the hot air came in, and you knew it was real at that point.
I just remember when the wind really started to howl, you could just hear the windows just getting destroyed one after another.
You just couldn't imagine the wind from it had. It just felt like it was going to blow the skin off my face.
I turned toward the stairwell, and there was daylight there. And there were leaves and rain blowing down the stairwell. And that's, you know, when I realized that this is a lot more severe than I really thought it was going to be.
Claims trainer Elizabeth Sobchak volunteered to drive a storm response vehicle from corporate headquarters in Columbia to Joplin that night.
When I got there, it was 3:30 in the morning. And on the way down, people were gracious. They saw that I was with an insurance company. They saw the storm response van and just said, bless you, you're going down to Joplin, you're in my prayers.
Steve Keeney, a veteran 28-year shelter adjuster, was in the southern Missouri area working claims from an earlier storm when the Joplin tornado hit. He says the damage was like nothing he had ever seen.
This was more reminiscent, if it's kind of like a tsunami of destruction. It just literally took a path and just wiped out everything in front of it as such. And so it was hard to kind of get your mind around the fact that it was a tornado.
There was just trees and telephone poles and flipped over cars and pieces of houses. It was just a bomb. It looked like a war zone.
Once the storm response vehicle was in place and the catastrophe site established, customers like Mark Craig found their way to us.
I remember straining a muscle in my back, and it hurt quite a bit. And I ended up getting on that bicycle, riding around the neighborhood, and finally said, well, they're over by the brewery. Well, that's where I ended up on my bicycle, and that's when I met Elizabeth for the first time.
When we had the storm response vehicle set up, a gentleman comes in and he could barely walk. I mean, he's just hunched over and he's dragging himself in. And I said, hi, I'm Elizabeth. He said, hi, my name's Mark. I said, Mark, I am so sorry that we meet this way. How can I help you? What can I do?
You know, she saw the back pain. You know, I was really grimacing every time I would move because it really, I had a lot of back pain in that time. And I think she found some Tylenol or something somewhere, but I think really she was so encouraging. Like I said, it was like she put a Band-Aid on my soul that day. That was very encouraging. That I will never forget.
And we were seeing people that really looked like they had come through a war. I mean, they had injuries, they had bandages on. And they were coming into our little location there, and we were giving them hugs. And it just seemed, that impressed me so much. And that's not something that you teach. It's something that our staff just comes natural to them. And that's the type of people that you hire in the claims world, and we've got some great people.
Shelter's team will tell you about the people they will never forget. Steve Keeney was particularly impressed by Mrs. Cook.
And they pulled up, and I'm standing there, and she rolls the truck window down, and of course didn't get out because the debris was so heavy and thick. And she had the biggest smile on her face, and she had a twinkle in her eye, and I could tell she wanted to tell me something. And I introduced myself, and I said, "How are you doing, Mrs. Cook?" And she said, "Well, I'll tell you something." She said, "My friends and neighbors darn near killed me." And I said, "What do you mean, Mrs. Cook?" And she said, well, 15 minutes before that tornado hit, I had 3 phone calls telling me to get to the basement. And she said, when the third one called to tell me to get to the basement, I said, "I ain't got time to talk, I got to get to my basement."
And a door fell on me or something, but it put me against the dishwasher and a solid place, and that saved me. I never could get, the wind was so strong I couldn't get the door open to the basement.
She didn't have a bruise on her, not a scratch. And I told my wife she had less wrinkles than I do, but she had the biggest smile. And I told her, I said, "Mrs. Cook," I said, "I'm gonna tell you something." She said, "What's that?" And I said, "That's how you get to 97. I said, "It's with that outlook on life."
Mrs. Cook's family managed to salvage a few pieces of furniture and some photos, but this is all that is left of her home.
You go back now and look at it, and you can't imagine that's where you lived, you know. Everything just cleared out. I miss my flowers.
Each family has worked through the claims process and has started rebuilding. The Bowman family began rebuilding in the fall, and the Craigs have plans as well.
We've sat here and looked at this hole all summer long, going, when are we going to hang some lumber? And so now to see them here actually doing it, I'm excited.
To get back to where we were before that day, that's becoming a lot more finite. That day, you know, we've got a date, we've got a place where we're going to build, we've got plans, we've recently hired a contractor, and you know, we will get back to that point. That's a lot more clear these days.
It strengthened my feeling towards the company and towards my career, and I think that's the thing that has defined Shelter in regards to its attitude and approach towards claims in general, is that we don't just pay claims, we service our policyholders, so that we're there to explain the process and to work with them to make them as whole as much as possible.
It's really humbling that somebody trusts you enough, that promise we made to them when they bought that policy, it's going to be fulfilled, because that's when it happens.
As the months passed, the long and challenging claims process continued. The state insurance department offered a day for local customers to come together with insurance companies and deal with problems and complaints. Shelter participated in that event.
And what made me even more proud was that we had our folks there. They spent the day there on that Saturday, and we had no policyholders from Shelter that came over. And so that tells you that it doesn't tell you that we didn't have problems, because we did. There were issues. We've tried to address those issues. There were some things that, are learning experiences for us. But what showed me was that we were addressing, when we would hear of an issue, we would try to address it immediately without letting it get to, blowing up.
The Shelter response was excellent. It was tremendous. From the time that an insured approaches a Shelter agent, takes out their insurance and writes them the check, to the time when we show up and walk up their driveway and hand them a claim payment. There are so many people involved and so much interaction that takes place to get from that one stage to that final stage. And all of that is attributed to our company.
When I talked to my agent the first time, I said, if I ever have a problem, I don't want a problem with you. And she took care of that. She sold me the right policy. We reviewed the policy every couple of years to make sure the limits were right. And when we did additions to the house, we made sure that those were included. And thank God we did, because had we not, we'd have been in trouble.
And it was kind of neat because, like, from Shelter Insurance, we probably did have about the quickest action, because we had so many different people there that had different insurances and they were really good.
I just think you've done really well for us. I have no complaints whatever.
Every department within the company helped with the Joplin effort. Our agents in the area were especially important. They shared the pain of lost friends and lived with the devastation. Despite their own challenges, they worked tirelessly to help our customers through this difficult time.
It's truly a team effort. It was not the claims department responded to this so well, the company responded to this so well.
There's nothing more gratifying to be in this business and to be able to say, yeah, we are your shield, we are your shelter.
There's a sense of pride there that you have for this company, the type of people that we have, and so while I can't go around and thank everybody for that, you know, if there's a way to do that, I would love to do that.
So I'm beyond proud. I don't know that there are words to describe how I feel about shelter and my place in shelter. I don't know that there are words to describe that from the inside.
It's never easy to rebuild a community after a disaster like this one. It takes strength, determination, and a great deal of patience. We've seen firsthand the true spirit and strength of the people of Joplin. All of us at Shelter are proud to stand with our customers and share in the challenges, whatever storms come our way.